What is the meaning of life? What is our purpose to be alive? Sometimes at night it can be kind of a thought that can creep into your mind, and I think it doesn't have a definite answer. But some things I've noticed over the years of experiencing this thing we call a life and doing things is one of the purposes I would say is to find and appreciate to find and to learn the beauty of it. And it's all in experiences and living things, experiencing different emotions. It's not always going to be good or bad, but I think we always hear about, for example, old people or elders always talking about all the things that they lived made them who they are, and that's what makes you wise. It's always an old wise man because he already spent many different times and stages of his life of happiness, grief, um, achievement, being proud, humility, suffering, and feeling love. And getting to know all of these different things about ourselves through these stages of different emotions and states of being is what I truly think is part of or the path to reaching that purpose. And it's okay to not have a defined purpose yet. And I personally don't think that for example you can say my purpose is being a doctor, no? Because I want to help people and I want to have that vocation within myself. And it can be okay for some people, but I don't truly think that the the reason someone was born and someone continues to live their life is specifically just to be a doctor, be a certain profession, or be a sales guy, or be a lawyer. Those are just tools or paths we choose that still experience the same emotions and stages just in different ways in different contexts. You can have the grief of losing someone, still doesn't matter what you're doing. You can you can have failure, you can have a patient die on you, you can lose a case and someone goes to jail. Um, you can try your very best to create something. For example, if you have art and you poured everything into it and nobody liked it. And the other thing I think that also ties into this is through each stage and each event or emotion that we go through, and especially on a side note, especially today, that is something very important that I thought of today is I think before all of this constant bombardment of information and um, quick dopamine releases. I know it's kind of cringe to say, but from social media and for everything else, we kind of gave up the the biggest ability that we have, which is our mind. And some things I've been trying to do is learning to or might say, I think it would be better to say relearning, because we used to do it always, but it's relearning how to think and be bored, and how to have an imagination. And I used to do this a lot when I was in a job that I had to deliver um, food and products for two different schools or companies or offices. And in the car on the way to each one, let's say it was half an hour to reach each client in the morning, and there were various clients or customers. Instead of listening to music, instead of doing anything, it was just sitting in my car with nothing on. And I think it creates some experiences where you kind of forget the amazing things that you can think of or see or remember when you're doing nothing and you're bored and you allow your mind to wander. Another side note: if you're driving, just please make sure you don't crash. Um, but I knew the routes I had to go to by heart, and sometimes it was just stuck in traffic, so I could allow myself to let my mind wander. But it can also be um, when I'm cooking food. I also do this where before, when I was cooking my lunch and my dinner, I would scroll through Twitter, scroll through social media to um, for the 20 minutes that I was making my food and also while eating my food. And I think in these types of situations, they're so golden because you're forced to wait for something. I'm forced to wait 5 minutes per side for a steak that I'm making. I'm forced to wait in traffic anyways. So it's something that I think helps us really draw out that ability that we used to have. And it's not something you can do right away. I mean, if you're in traffic or if you're just sitting on your couch and you say, okay, I'm gonna not do anything and just be bored. The urge you feel to just grab something to give you a hit of something or take your attention away is so strong. It's unbelievable sometimes at this point that it's this strong and this connected to us. But it is true, and I think the little things like that where we our imagination is such a big and strong and amazing thing, because obviously you can imagine all sorts of unreal and fantasy scenarios, but in each one is filled with details and context that you brought from your mind into the scenario. And it's kind of like a little snowball where you get rolling, and before you sometimes it happens without thinking, and once you become aware that you're doing it, it kind of like it can sometimes go away. But those are the things that are so great and so amazing because they they transform and allow you to rethink of memories from the past. The typical, I would have done this differently if I would live it right now. But it's also your dreams, and you're living dreams where you think of things you want to do. And then the great thing about all this is once you start thinking of those things, your mind automatically starts to wander into, let's say if you have a dream of I want to have a lot of money and I want to one day live in a big house, your mind automatically starts to wander to why don't I have this, and What's the thing? And the funny thing about your mind is, and this is also something I've noticed, is when you think of a problem or when you think of something and you say, how can I get this? Or how can I do this? Your mind, from what I've noticed, usually jumps to the answer straight away. And you spend the next minutes convincing yourself why that's not possible and you can't do that. It's very funny how that works, and when I realized it through another idea that I saw in a video once about from psychology, I don't know, it kind of made me laugh because it's so funny how that works. Where normally you think of the solution right away, or your mind kind of knows what to do or what's wrong, and the rest of the time is just you putting layers on top of it, trying to disguise it or make it something it's not, or making it seem 10 times more difficult than it really is. And that's why I think getting those moments and creating those moments every day for you in your mind and your imagination and your dreams is such a gift and such an important thing, because through those thoughts and feelings and the accompanying emotions that you feel when that is happening to you creates paths and creates growth. It creates real growth inside of you, and that is the whole purpose of life. And that is the reason why we are here. It's to experience life. It's to experience ourselves and experience the wonders that we can do, that we can create, that we can achieve even within ourselves. And I think there are lots of natural tools that we already have, but have become so accustomed as to not do them, where we can truly live simple, or maybe live simpler and achieve so much more just by, instead of listening to the things on the outside, listening to ourselves and allowing us to sit and just let our mind wander and reach our purpose, which is growing, living, experiencing, and being one with ourselves, which I think is most important. Truly getting to know yourself and knowing who you are is truly I think and I haven't reached it, right, but one of, or if not the most satisfying and happiest you can be, is when you know yourself to that point and you can talk to yourself and imagine and let your mind be free and wander to that point. So purpose is always developing, it's always coming, and it's always being created. Purpose already has been made and can be relived and revisited as many times as we want. And it's something we can cherish and we can develop, and it's our duty and responsibility, I would say, to be there for ourselves and be our greatest friend. So thank you for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next video.